Imagine taking your canoe down to a very fast-moving river. And as you are approaching the stream with your canoe or your rubber raft, it doesn't matter, you have your paddles already in it, you put it in the stream and you deliberately point it upstream and start paddling. And we say to you, why not turn and go with the flow? And our human friends invariably will say, oh, Abraham, that just seems lazy. Anybody could do that. And besides that, everybody that I know that's worth anything is paddling upstream. We take classes in it. We build our muscles up to do it. And we compare ourselves to one another constantly to see how well we are doing in fighting the current. And we say, but if you would just let go of the paddles, the stream would turn you and you could have a very nice ride on the stream. And our friends, our physical friends, almost always say, but Abraham, you don't understand. My mother paddled upstream, her mother paddled upstream. Everybody that has any prowess in this physical world at all, every monument that's ever been built was for somebody that paddled upstream. You want a best-selling book? You got to paddle upstream. You have to dig deep, deep holes for yourself. And when you climb out, they give you plaques and awards and things. And our human friends tell us, they say, we've heard there's even more rewards in heaven for those who paddle upstream. And we say, and we know, nothing that you want is upstream. Nothing that you want is upstream. Everything that you are asking for is in that flow. And the reason we know that is because we've seen the stream. We know how it progressed. We know that it brought you into this body. And we know that when you give birth to a rocket of desire, it becomes part of that stream. And we know that the source energy part of you has become that which you are asking for. And by law of attraction is summoning you to the expanded version of you. And that is what created the stream. Do you get that? Law of attraction is the basis of this stream. So you are consciousness which comes into this body and thinks a thought that then attracts unto itself. And when you go with that flow, you feel the power of that stream. Jerry and Esther and friends had a wonderful day riding on a very fast-moving river in Colorado. And as they were driving up the canyon in the bus, along with all of the others victims who would soon be in the stream, they were looking at this stream in amazement. They could not believe the speed of it, the ferocity of it, the way the water was spouting up as it was going over the boulders and around the bridge abutments. Esther and Jerry turned to one another more than once and said, we must be out of our minds. And as they put their raft into the river, it was perfectly clear to them. There was no way they were going to paddle upstream in this river. This river was going to have its way with them. And we want to tell you, your river is going to have its way with you too. Because it's a current that got going before you even came into this body. And it's a current that you've added to from the life experience that you've been living as you've been becoming and becoming and becoming and becoming. And this stream is flowing and you got to go with it if you're going to feel good. You can't buck the current. And when you do, you don't feel good. As Jerry and Esther and their friends were flowing down this river, this raging river, their guide pointed out to them, notice these big rocks in the river. He said, they are rooted to the floor of this riverbed. They're not flowing. And if our raft gets up against them, we have no way of turning the river off. And that fast-moving stream will upend us. It will dump you in the river. Or worse, it will wedge you in the rocks and the river will just beat the life out of you. And then he called their attention to page 5, paragraph 3 of the release form they'd signed, where the likelihood of them surviving this river trip was very remote. Esther didn't read it. She just signed it. Whatever. She said, whatever. First paragraph was too upsetting to read the rest of it. And our point is, when the living of your life causes you to get this stream moving really fast, and then you get hung up on some issue that has you clinging to the floor of the river doesn't stop. It beats you up. And that's why sometimes friends say to us, Abraham, why is it that when I began doing this work, all hell broke loose in my life? And we say, because when you begin thinking about what you want and why you want it, when you begin allowing yourself to sift through the data of life and let the desire begin to flow in the way that it eternally must, and you don't go with that faster and faster and faster moving river. In other words, a car that's going 100 miles an hour and hits a tree is a bigger problem than a car that goes 5 miles an hour and hits a tree. So the more you live life and the more deliberate you become, the more you deliberately weigh what you're living and identify what you want, the faster your current begins to move. And the faster your current begins to move, the more important it is that you turn and go with the flow. So when you push against something, no matter how right you are in your conclusion of the wrongness of the thing you're pushing against, you split your energy. Because the source within you understands that this is a universe based upon law of attraction, and that there is no exclusion anywhere in this universe, which means when you see something you want and you shout yes at it, you include it in your vibration. But when you see something that you don't want, something that you call abhorrent or wrong, and you shout no at it, you split your energy. Because when you see something that you push against, you're not pushing it away. You're including it in your vibration and calling it to you. And the source within you never, ever, 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 ever does that. If source within you would blame your government or your president or somebody like you do, you wouldn't feel so rotten when you do it. And many of you say, oh, that doesn't feel rotten. That's delightful. And we say it's only slightly more delightful than the powerlessness you felt before you did it. Everything that you are reaching for, we have concluded as we have watched you, and we have watched every one of you. Everything that you do, even if it is the achieving of a negative emotion, is in your effort to return to your state of feeling better. And what we mean by that is, when you feel powerless, and you find a thought of revenge or anger, you feel better. And the reason you feel better is because there is less feeling of powerlessness in revenge. We've noted, as we've observed humans, that in your emotional states, there are many emotions that you feel, more than we could count. But they are all on a sort of sliding scale. And it all has to do with your alignment with who you really are or not. And the closer into alignment you are with the source energy that is really the dominant part of you, the better you feel. And the more out of alignment you get, the worse you feel. In alignment feels like love and appreciation. It feels like joy. It feels like passion. When you're out of alignment, it feels like frustration, overwhelmment. It feels like anger and more anger. It feels like fear and despair and all of those disempowering emotions. And if you will notice, as you run the gamut of your emotional scale, that on the good feeling end, there is a perception on your part of freedom and empowerment. And on the not good feeling end of the scale, there is your perception of disempowerment and not freedom. Now we know, because it is the nature of all of us who exist, that at very deep, secure, knowing source levels of our being, we know, which means you know, that you are free. You know that no one can vibrate for you, and that your vibration is your point of attraction. And so with that knowledge, we find freedom. But if you don't have that knowledge, then you might very well perceive erroneously that some condition or some circumstance or some other has power over you. And when you conclude that, you feel horrible, because that conclusion is so opposite of what you really know, you see. So everything that you feel is about your vibrational relationship between who you're being in this body right now in this moment while you're thinking this thought, and who you really are as that larger part of you is with you and thinking a thought. The way you feel is always the barometer of that alignment or misalignment of thought. Some of you have been listening to us talking about this emotional scale, and we talk about on one end of it where love and appreciation is, that's where you want to be, and the other end of it where despair, where fear and discouragement are, you don't want to be there. And it gives you the impression that we think that you should turn your boat downstream, put a motor on it, and get all the way over here as quickly as you can to love and appreciation and joy. And we want you to understand that that idea goes against your logic when you understand that the stream is already moving. You don't need to put a motor on your boat. In fact, you don't even need to turn your boat around. You don't have to turn the boat around and paddle downstream. Just stop paddling upstream. When you stop paddling upstream, the current will turn you. So you've just got to stop doing that thing you do that's not letting you go with the flow. And when you stop doing that thing you do that's not letting you go with the flow, you'll begin to go with the flow. And that's the turning point that we want you to be aware of. In the moment that you turn in the stream, that's when the relief factor will be clear to you. Now, you're going to feel a certain kind of relief when you go from absolute despair and feeling of powerlessness into revenge. There's a certain relief in that. You're going to feel another relief when you go from anger into less anger. There's a relief in that. You're going to feel another sensation of relief when you go from anger to frustration. You're even going to feel relief when you go from hoping to believing. You're going to feel relief when you go from believing to knowing. When you make the effort, moment by moment, segment by segment, day by day, to reach for the best feeling thought you can find, where you're looking for things that feel better, not the best feeling thought you've ever thought, just the best one you can find from where you are, so that you are just aware, is this an upstream thought or a downstream thought? Is this an upstream thought or a downstream thought? This analogy has been so helpful to Esther. She's driving the monster bus. They're wailing down the freeway. Jerry's in the back doing something. And commonly Esther will say, "Can you hear me?" And Jerry will say, "Yeah, I'll be right there." And then he'll stop doing whatever he's doing and he'll come forward to have a conversation with Esther. And he'll get there and she will not say anything. And he'll say, "Yes." And Esther has been saying lately, "Oh, never mind, it was an upstream thought." In the amount of time that it takes Jerry to put down his pencil or whatever he's doing and make his way forward, Esther's had a chance to reconsider. Take a beat or two before you begin speaking the first thought that comes into your head and ask yourself, is this an upstream thought or a downstream thought? Is this talking about what I want, or is this justifying why I want what I want? And can you feel the difference? There's a big difference between talking about why you want something and defending your reason for wanting it. When you're justifying or rationalizing, when you're pointing out, when you're still pleading your case to your mother, when you're pleading for something, you're upstream. No matter how you try to smile and how sweet you try to make it sound, when you are justifying or defending or rationalizing, you're upstream. And when you stop doing that, when you just withdraw that thought or that comment, you'll feel the stream begin to turn you. And that, friends, is the work. That's the only work. In fact, it is so much the only work. We want you to understand that it has to be enough because it's all you've got. You can't turn in the stream and all of a sudden be over here. Can you imagine Jerry and Esther saying to the river guide, "Where is this boat going to come out?" And he would say, "Oh, several miles downstream, close to Fort Collins." And so Jerry and Esther would think about it, being the very deliberate creators that they are. And they would tell him, "Well, let's load the boat back up on the bus and let's drive downstream a few miles. We would like to put the boat in the water about 500 yards from where we're going to get out. We like instant manifestation." And he would say, "Okay, crazy lady, but I thought you wanted to ride on the river." And this is the thing that we want to say to you. We'll leave the crazy lady part out, but we thought you wanted to ride on the river. And the reason that we want you to get a sense of this ride on the river is because we know that while you're riding the river, that life is causing you to contribute more to that vibrational escrow. So you're not ever going to get it done. Life's going to cause you to continue to become more, and the non-physical part of you is going to continue to precede you in becoming it, and is going to continue to create the stream by calling you forward. And so you're not ever going to catch up with who you have become, because you are an eternal being.